Tuesday, the 25th of July, 2023. Good evening and many thanks for joining us wherever you're catching us from. I'm Joram Paul Sonko with Winnie Winza Nakauchi on for sign language interpretation. This is our Business Today live broadcast from Plot 42, Nile Avenue. First, a look at our top stories. The headlines tonight. We look at investment and business resilience. East African Business Council and the regional members are pursuing investment and trade growth as summit nears. COSASE has picked on Microfinance Support Center, digging into disputed credit and development services as 48.5 billion shillings is quoted in non-appraised collateral-free loans. Local startup ecosystem demands for instrument to aid development, while Uganda is yet to join Senegal, Kenya and other states to protect small farms. All right, we now kick it off with investment and business resilience. Uganda is set to host the Business and Investment Summit that will bring together East Africa in regards to economic growth. As the Business and Investment Summit nears with the East African Business Council and regional states in anticipation, topical issues on trade policies, investments, incentives, infrastructure development, among others, dominate anxiety. Still, provided the mentioned factors are addressed, trans-African trade is the ultimate goal in an attempt to exploit a bigger and wider market. Bronia Katusime.
Intra-regional trade in East Africa has shown resilience and is currently standing at 24%. Nevertheless, we have to be mindful of the challenges that lie ahead. For a long time now, standards, infrastructure challenges, trade barriers, and access to finance, among other challenges, have been bombarding the East African community when it comes to trade practices. In pursuit of unlocking immense potential in business collaboration and economic growth within the East African region, earlier today, ESC, in collaboration with the East African Business Council, have unveiled the Business and Investment Summit, which is to take place from 31st August to 1st September 2023. This is going to be used as a key driver to improving trade practices and betterment of investments for increased prosperity in the region.
It is an opportunity for businesses, entrepreneurs, and investors to explore potential collaborations that will drive economic growth and prosperity for our beloved region. Let us seize the opportunities that lie ahead, embrace collaboration, and work hand in hand to foster a conducive business environment that promotes prosperity for all.
Be supplying milk to Kenya and the entire region because they have that competitive advantage. They have competitive advantage. No any other country in the region will outcompete Uganda in terms of dairy products. So what we are doing at the ABC is through our evidence-based research to show our policymakers that what we are doing has an impact, a detrimental impact on the welfare of East Africa. It's not Uganda losing, it's Kenyan losing, because when you restrict the Ugandan milk to access Kenyan market, who are you penalizing? You're not penalizing the Ugandan producers. You're also penalizing Kenyan consumers because it's going to be expensive to import dairy products from the rest of the world because they are high taxes, 100% from the rest of the world.
I think means a lot as far as the manufacturers are concerned, because whenever we have such fora, there is a lot to be discussed in relation to business and trade. I'm very sure this kind of engagement will bring a lot of solutions to a number of issues that could be hindering growth.
As we embark on the journey to boost trade, confronting economic hardships head-on with determination and joint efforts, the region can overcome these challenges to create seamless business operations. Bronia Katsime, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Well, now moving on, the Public Accounts Committee and Commission, Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises, COSASE, has picked on another entity for inquest. This is the Microfinance Support Center, mandated to offer affordable credit and business development services, which is under inquiry, informed by the Auditor General's 2021-2022 misperformance, which is becoming clear as the committee discovered that management of the entity issued out 48.5 billion shillings collateral-free and without appraisal to groups of people. Samla Hanifa reports.
The group from Microfinance Support Center, who were accompanied by the Acting Executive Director, Helen Petrolina, arrived a bit late, something which did not go right by the committee. In their interface with the committee, it was discovered that certain people have been getting money without an assessment appraisal report or collateral done, which is against the law.
Appraisal, there should be no recommendation for one to get a loan, because she has said after the loan appraisal, then the officer recommends give this person or this company or whatever a loan, or don't give them. Now this one here, 4.1 billion, there's no loan appraisal, but money was given. On what basis? Because you see, what we are beginning to think is that either there are people who are untouchable, or it is you staff members, who got this money yourselves somehow.
In their response, the acting ED has informed the committee that the staff that handled the disbursement were not trained enough, an explanation the committee has refused to accept. According to members of parliament, the ED is telling a blatant lie to the committee because the group that handles such big amounts of money as 4.1 billion shillings is the loans committee and the management.
This question is that, yes, it is true that some loans were given out without proper appraisals, and this happens as a result of recruiting staff at different levels, and their levels of experience are varying. But through the process of training and empowering them via improving their skills, this process goes on improving. So the loans that were captured here under this section, when we are basically referring staff to zones, you'll find staff who are very experienced and staff who are new coming in, but also they are learning.
My branch manager could approve a loan to the disbursement. Appraisal went up to the credit committee at head office, and then up to the board. So any loan of this, say, 4.1 billion, the ED cannot say, for one, there was incompetent employees that they probably recruited. It means even the ED is incompetent. That is one. Two, there was connivance, because that loan was not approved at the bottom level. It was approved at top level. So it means there was some fraud and connivance. That's why that loan was approved, that she is trying to hide, that we need to dig deeper. Why do you recruit incompetent people into the system to cause loss to the country? Value for money.
The acting ED submitted by saying that they have incompetent people, especially down there, including, if I'm not mistaken, including her. Because loan approvals go through a process from the bottom up to the top, depending on the amount, with my little experience that I have. Does it mean that even those ones at the top are also incompetent? Two, on the figures, when you go in your financial statements on page 40, you will realize that on staff training and study tour, it costed 1.182 billion shillings in 2021-2022. Does it mean this is a concrete, it is a figure that was just put there, but people were not trained? Just check in your financial statement.
The committee has also discovered that part of the Imyoga money was not dispersed to the ready circles, an indication that they deliberately refused to disperse this money. The committee has resolved by inviting the board of the Microfinance Support Center, the Minister for Microfinance Support Center, as well as all stakeholders to explain the anomalies in the entity.
But I want to learn, now that the money came and people were excited in communities that they are going to receive this Imyoga fund, it sounds awkward for them to hear that you took back the money when actually the intended beneficiaries never received it. And that's why, looking at the comments of the Auditor General, it talks about your failure to utilize the funds being negative in terms of the planned achievements.
A minister who is a supervising minister, and then of course the board. Should they be involved? Because you see, now when somebody goes, as we had, the person in charge of credit, who was saying the ED of the foundation was sent by the minister, how is he supposed to say no to his minister, his line minister, even if the minister's foundation does not qualify and all of these different things? It's complicated. So all these are issues that we want to get to the bottom of, with someone on the board to come tomorrow, and the minister, the Honorable Haruna Kasolo, has got to come on Thursday so that we interact with him about this issue, but also the fact that he's the minister that supervises this entity.
All right, now moving on, the local startup ecosystem has called for a Startup Actors instrument to support the development of innovative firms. In 2021, players in the startup space called for a similar provision in a national startup policy, while the union is in the final stages to out a regulatory impact assessment report and approval processes. The Trade Ministry has offered support to the cause, as majority of such local businesses are within the fragile SME bracket. Pedson Mumbere has details.
As of now, 99% of the financial support that come into the country to support the entire startup ecosystem in the country comes from foreign direct investment, which is too expensive because even other African countries are facing the same. Now, startups in Uganda are saying that there is a need for an enabling law that will give shape for the entire startup ecosystem, that will also give confidence to the foreign investors to come and invest in the entire ecosystem in the country.
There is need for a law to both protect but also provide appropriate incentives regime to spur the establishment, growth and sustainability of startups in Uganda, to enable them scale, to enable them to become competitive, and to prevent talent flight and attract more investments into the startups ecosystem sector.
Well, first and foremost, there is no formal definition or understanding of what a startup is in Uganda's context. So if we were to have a law policy, the expectation is that that is one of the things to be addressed therein. Secondly, is to create an enabling environment for such startups to thrive, which should speak to the nature of incentives that they receive to enable them compete on a global scale. We have seen that the countries, African countries which have this law, have been able to grow more successful startups that are attracting a lot more in foreign investment in comparison to ours.
The startup ecosystem in Uganda was ranked the 4th in East Africa and 96th in the whole world, and it saw an increase in 2023, as well as jumping 5 spots in the previous year, outranking Angola. And now the National Parliamentary Youth Forum in the Parliament of Uganda, Honorable Okot Boniface, is saying that there is a need for a legislative incentive to protect the whole idea around the startup ecosystem in the country.
And certainly, we want to set up a legislative incentive, a legislative framework, a legislative environment to protect these ideas. Because we have a situation where Uganda does not have a proper model of registering these businesses. We do not have a good way to classify these businesses. So what is happening? Countries in the EU, countries in the Americas are instead taking away there's capital flight. There's flight of our ideas, of our professionals. They are going ahead to register companies, startup companies in countries that recognize startups as they are.
In a bid to have a thriving startup ecosystem in the country, there was formation sharing workshop that was giving ideas on how to formulate the Startup Act in the country. Pedson Mumbere, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
And right now, our focus turns to media. Following the dispute over President Museveni's decree directing state advertisement to be strictly through government media entities, the National Association of Broadcasters and the President will be meeting early next month. Now, the development comes amid its protest from a section of opposition parliamentarians that called the decision unconstitutional and detrimental to the media industry. Stuart Diakoni has more.
While President Museveni is on course to meet the National Association of Broadcasters over the segregative decree on advertisement, a section of opposition parliamentarians have contested the proclaimed move, voicing support for private media organizations that have threatened to boycott all government functions. Advertisement is one of the key sources for media revenue, and government has over time been a prime source. The decision has thus been called unconstitutional and detrimental to the media industry.
The media personalities and the people who work in the media, they are all Ugandans who contribute to the tax base, who have a right to benefit from the work that they do. So that for the president to come up and issue a directive and discriminate between media platforms that have been serving the country and actually do serve the entire country without segregation is unconstitutional.
You know, Uganda has adopted the liberal economy. And right now, each and every individual is free to practice and to start the television stations, radio stations, whether print, everything is quite free in this country. But the way His Excellency is moving, I think is toward a very dangerous direction.
On March 6, 2023, the President, through a statement to the Prime Minister, instructed all government agencies to solely utilize the state-owned media for advertising, which was implemented by the Permanent Secretary to the Ministry of Finance.
How we shall implement the guidance from the President.
Right now we head to the Teso region, as the Teso sub-region is well known for a rich agro-industry with millet, maize, sorghum and sunflower, among other notable products. A routine to the region is identity. Now, Goody Leisure Farm, in collaboration with government to take on the sub-region's private sector, incubating agripreneurs on commitment to better production across 19 parishes within that sub-region. Naomi Mutumba reports.
Teso region has emerged as a promising investment destination, with farming taking a center stage as a key driver to economic development. Professor Goodluck Basaza has urged investors to seize the abundant opportunities that lie within the region.
When you look at the mangoes, you look at the oranges, Teso region is one of those areas we are proud of in the country for providing commercial oranges and commercial mangoes that are taking us on the map. If you look at the citrus plant that we have in Teso, the juice sells across the entire region. And we have also seen that the Teso region, there is a lot of cooperation. We are proud of the Teso Fruit Growers Association, which has put our country on the map. It means that the people of the region have the capacity to work together.
Tourism is one of the tall standing investment opportunities in the region, with the famous Soroti Rock, Lake Choga, among others. However, challenges remain on the path.
Hosts one of the most rare species of birds. We have the shorebill, we have the white-backed duck that is found around Lake Opeta, Bisinia wetland. These are species that bring in tourists who are in the end bring in foreign currency. But again, when we go to the Kumi region, we see that region has a potential for tourist boat rides. It has a potential to enjoy the view of the birds, fishing and trekking.
To share with you the issues of our cultures. Soroti has 10 districts per now, and Teso we have 10 districts so far. She has finished to read the district. I can't repeat again. Soroti is Mother Teso. For sure, our culture, as it is so, we are lagging behind. Why? By the time when we have been taking our animals by the Karamojo, we came down. Even on the side of education, our youth are lagging behind. They don't have even skills for education, because for us it is we don't have now cows. We are just there. Our youth are lagging behind. As a Minister for Culture, I was advising my youth, let them also try to encourage themselves to be in groups like us they have started. BSLS, circles, businesses, but the problem that the youth are having is the capital is not there for starting proper businesses. And even the skills, they doesn't have skills for promoting their businesses. Even on the side of ICT, we don't have so many schools of ICT there at Soroti. We are really lacking behind. Our youth are just there, seated.
Since it's a mother TESO, it has got the opportunity of having access of markets. Since we are connected with the southern road, which takes the birds to Sudan, which takes to Busia. So that road of Soroti is giving TESO a great opportunity of market. So we are in the line of making or boosting market, since we have an excess of markets.
Cultivating high-value cash crops and investing in modern farming is significantly boosting the region's economic development and outputs. Naomi Mtumba, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Well, in our more business today, we'll return immediately after the break, so stick around with us.